um, the three aspects or three areas of interrogating the other. We looked at the need or the duty to question opinions, to be vigilant about the kind of opinions that we expose ourselves to and accept unconditionally. And then we talked about the need, I talked about orthodoxy. And then I talked about tradition, right? And today I have something more to say. But yesterday, after the assembly, Dr. Ashutosh Dayal Mathur, who has today taken his position strategically at the exit, so that in case the assembly address becomes too unbearing, he can make a quiet but speedy exit, asked me a question in my room. He says, what is the difference between orthodoxy and tradition, right? Orthodox. So I thought that question was a very important one, and very briefly I will do with it. I will try and make this distinction a little more clear, right? Because many people, he's very right, many people identify or equate orthodoxy with tradition. Now I'm going to introduce two words now, orthodoxy and orthopraxis. Don't worry about these high-sounding words. Orthodoxy actually means holding the right belief, right? Orthodoxy means holding the right belief. Orthopraxis, praxis means doing the right thing, right? Now, when orthodoxy was not orthodoxy, there was a correlation between knowing the right thing and doing the right thing. So it was a healthy state. But over a period of time, a set of practices, a set of assumptions became orthodox, and orthodoxy developed. And therefore, the beliefs remained, orthopraxis disappeared. So orthodoxy, now I'm going to use again a little technical expression, two technical expressions. Orthodoxy therefore refers to the pastness of the past. You have to really think of something far distant in time in the past. This was how it was done. It was done well in those days and everything worked beautifully, and therefore nothing shall change. Right? Now, whether you act accordingly is not important. You must endorse the same set of assumptions, notions, suppositions, beliefs. That's all. You can do what you want. So, orthodoxy is something that you endorse, you subscribe to. But orthodoxy does not have to actually shape your actions today. You understand? People who are very assertive about orthodoxy will not live according to orthodox ideas and beliefs. They will believe, they will live in the present world, at the same time will be very protective of orthodoxy, with which they really have nothing to do. Now, tradition, on the other hand, is not the pastness of the past, but the presentness of the past. Tradition also developed in the past, and many generations were nurtured within that tradition, and therefore it has something of universal value. In fact, every tradition develops based on universal values, time-tested principles. But there is no guarantee that the same time-tested or universal principles will continue to be the guiding principles for everyone. Somewhere along the line, many people will try to hijack those principles and substitute them with certain convenient set of principles. As I said yesterday, it has happened in the history of our college. Now, at the same time, those essential core principles that constituted the vitality of that tradition still remain. They're still available to you. And those of us who care for them can relate to them, live them, and demonstrate the vitality of this tradition. That's why I said yesterday that every tradition needs to be appropriated, reinterpreted again and again in fresh vigor, vitality, and hope, so that the liveliness and power of the tradition can be felt by people who live today. Though centuries would have elapsed between the enunciation of a tradition and its present practice, there is no guarantee at the same time that people will do so, but you can do so. Now, it is certainly true, as Dr. Ashutosh Mathur said, that in a time of moral, spiritual decay, in a period of dishonesty and hypocrisy, the distinction between orthodoxy and tradition will be lost. Tradition will look merely orthodox. In recent times, when journalists have been interviewing me, one of the questions they have asked is, "So why are you so orthodox?" So I asked them, "Why do you say that I am orthodox?" And say, "Because you talk about the past. The college was like this. The college was founded in this manner. The college had these priorities and values for a period of time, and then it changed in the 50s, 60s. Why do you have to look back?" So the distinction between orthodoxy and tradition is lost. Tradition is considered orthodox because we are living in the brave new world, but looking back is intellectually absurd. Now, this is not a viable position at all, but I really don't have time to take you more into this, and I would commend this your continued reflection. Today, I want to introduce, I have only time just to introduce the third aspect of interrogating the other, which is propaganda. It's a very important word in the contemporary world. I certainly will not be able to finish this concept today. I'll only get us started. Now, do you think propaganda is happening? Right? By the way, how many of you are familiar with the works of Noam Chomsky? I very strongly commend the writings of Noam Chomsky, particularly his book, Manufacturing Consent. He has written more than 100 books. He is considered the greatest living intellectual. Several of his talks are available on YouTube. Rather than waste your time on meaningless things, look at the beautiful resources available on the YouTube itself. YouTube is actually an illustration of life. You can either pick up dirt or you can pick up immortal jewels. It's entirely up to you. Right? From St. Stephen's College also you can pick up dirt if you want, or you can pick up jewels. You can watch and know the great things of life, or you can just waste your time. Right? You can learn an epic poem, or you can learn the blacksmith song, which is considered the national anthem of St. Stephen's College by the most depraved people. You understand? Now, I'm being very, very open with you because time has come to tell the truth. I mean, this depraved affinity to the putrefying must be renounced as an insult to being Stephanian. All right, now coming to propaganda. 20th century, more than any other century, was known as the century of propaganda. And many people are under the impression that it was Hitler who invented propaganda, which is historically not true. Hitler used propaganda to deadly effect and created a ministry called the Ministry for Popular Enlightenment and Propaganda. That was the name of the ministry. The Ministry for Popular Enlightenment and Propaganda. And the minister appointed was, does anyone know? Goebbels, yes. Now, Hitler, in doing this, was influenced by the example of Great Britain and to, at that time, a lesser extent by the United States of America. Hitler said, look at the effective utilization of propaganda by the British and the Americans. We were fools not to have used it. And therefore, when the Second World War came, he decided to pay back in the same coin, and he did it to deadly effect. And there is a little book that influenced Hitler in the process. That book was written by a French philosopher. His name was Gustave Le Bon, and his book appeared in 1906. 120 pages, that's all. But even today considered the classic work on crowd behavior. All right? And there are wonderful studies on the use of propaganda by the Nazi party, and all of you are welcome to read those books. But for our purpose today, I'm going to make the last statement. This time is almost up. I want you to know that the fundamental purpose of propaganda is to mislead a people. Propaganda is not aimed at telling the truth, right? Let's rise for prayer.